Today out there, you guys in YouTube land, Halloween ends. If I were you, I'd look out for Michael and me. There's no telling when I will come out and haunt you guys out there in YouTube land, because Halloween ends today.
Don't fuck with them hoes.
Hey, horror fans! Once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. Yes, still continuing on with the 31 Days of Horror. Yes, it is finally here after a long wait and a lot of predictions and speculations. Halloween Ends actually came on last night. That's because Peacock decided to say, you know what, we're going to go on ahead and put it on early Thursday night around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank my good friend Steven from Craving Something Scary, who put that out there. So I was able to watch it last night. And now here is my review of Halloween Ends. Now, Halloween Ends is a 2022 American slasher film. It was directed by David Gordon Green. It was written by David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, Chris Benner, and Paul Brad Logan. Now, of course, the film stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Andy Matichek, James Jude Courtney, Nick Castle, Will Patton, and Ron Campbell. Now, the saga of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode comes to a spine-chilling climax in the final installment of this trilogy. Ooh, finally, yes! You know, when Halloween was released back in 1978, I'm sure no one would believe how successful this movie would be. And it was written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill and directed by John Carpenter. The film, which was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho and Bob Clark's Black Christmas, would become the catalyst for the slasher craze of horror films during the 80s. Yes, this film is primarily responsible for all the slasher films, because right after this film was made, obviously we got Friday the 13th, came out in 80, and then all of a sudden we were deluged with a whole bunch of slasher films. I mean, everything from Friday the 13th, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, or prom night, any type of thing that had a slasher film, made a slasher for it. Now, the film's antagonist, Michael Myers, would become a horror icon, joining Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger to form the next big three of horror, since Christopher Lee, Vincent Price, and Peter Cushing. In 2018, film director David Gordon Green, along with Danny McBride, would decide to make another Halloween film, one that would be a direct sequel from the original 1978 film, while ignoring the other films in the franchise. A lot of people didn't like that, but that's what they decided to do. They decided, hey, look, let's just go on ahead and create our own Halloween, and removed all of the sequels and changed everything that happened, and we'll make our own Halloween that came out in 2018. Now, that film would become the basis for a trilogy, with Halloween Kills that came out in 2021, and finally, the epic conclusion with Halloween Ends. Now, after witnessing a tragedy that involves Corey Cunningham in a prologue in 2019, we time jump 3 years later in the town of Haddonfield, where all the residents are still reeling from Michael Myers' latest killing spree, obviously coming from the previous film in Halloween Kills. No one has seen the Shape since he killed Laurie Strode's daughter, Karen Nelson, and despite buying a house and writing a memoir, residents are blaming Laurie for Michael's latest rampage. They really are upset. They said that she encouraged him and killed all those people. So we have relatives of some of the victims that actually survived or are dead, blaming her for what happened to them. Now, meanwhile, Corey, while being bullied by high school kids, he encounters Myers and will lead him down a dark path that eventually will have him, Myers, and Laurie into a final confrontation. It's kind of what the film basically is. Now, despite this film being close to 2 hours long, it's very fast paced. It goes by very quickly. That's maybe because the story that Danny and his writers have crafted here is very intriguing. For me, is concerned. One fact I did enjoy about the film is Corey's relationship with Allison. Both are suffering from their own tragedy, so I wasn't surprised to see them bond and form a relationship. You know, both Corey, he has his own problems, obviously from what the tragedy that took place at the beginning of the film. Allison has her own tragedy because both her mother and father were killed by Michael from Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. So they both have these tragedies, and I guess they decided to bond very quick together and they formed this nice relationship. That's one of the aspects I like from the film. Another factor that I enjoyed about the film is Corey himself. He is a man who is struggling to be good or to be evil. Now, as the film progresses, we see Corey fall further into the dark path, and we can see why, especially when we see how his mother treats him and how the residents of Haddonfield treat him as well. One question I believe that David and the writers were going for with the story is that do we all have evil inside of us? I mean, there's no telling if there's no telling what would happen to Corey if he had gotten the help he needed after the tragedy that took place in the beginning of the film. Would he still become the person that he eventually become towards the end of the film? I mean, obviously, when you look at this film, the way how the high school people treat, how the high school kids treat him, how they bully him, how his interactions with some of the other residents in the film, how they treat him, they still blame him for the tragedy that took place in a part of the film, and you can see the struggle that he has in the film because he claims it was just an accident in the film, but obviously still blame him for what happened, and he has to struggle on whether he should just leave or just simply snap out. Now, of course, Lori has her own issue to deal with this film, mainly from the fallout of Myers' rampage, as the residents blame her for it. And it's like I said earlier in the film, that's one of the problems Lori has in the film. I mean, she's found her own nice way of trying to deal with the trauma in her lifetime. She's trying to go on ahead and live a good, quiet life. So, like I said, she's writing a memoir as sort of a healing process. And of course, but unfortunately, every now and again, you still see these residents blaming her for what happened to their loved ones. Now, obviously, when looking at this film, this isn't your typical slasher film, but we still do get some violent kills in this film, though not as brutal as Kills had. I mean, there are some decent kills in this film, which I won't discuss because this is a spoiler free review, but I'm pretty sure people who have seen the film know what I'm talking about. Like I said, they're not as brutal, and I think not as many as Kills had, but there's still some decent kills in this film. Now, obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis is once again as Laurie Strode, which is supposed to be her last time that she's going to play this character. And again, who's trying her best from healing from the past while at the same time she knows that there's something wrong with Corey. I like the little interactions that they have midway through the second act of the film, that she knows that there's something going on with Corey. I love the chemistry Jamie has with Andy and the rest of the cast as everyone's trying to do their best to finally relax and live a normal life, despite the fact that Michael is still out there. She has great chemistry with Will Patton. I like the scene that they have in the supermarket. I like the chemistry she has with I like the chemistry she has with Kyle Richards, who plays Lindsay from the original uh, Halloween. I like the chemistry she has, even though she's not in the film that much. But whatever the time that she's in the film, you can obviously still have a great relationship. Like I said, all the actors do a pretty good job in this film. Now, since the film's main focus is on Corey, Canadian actor Rohan Campbell does a good job in portraying the struggling man who's trying his best to be either good, but outside influences, again with issues with his mother, eventually leads him down the dark path. I think one of the things I liked about this film, and I'm pretty sure I don't think any else might not liked about this film, is his interactions with Michael. I won't go into more details of it, but he has a very interesting interaction with Michael, and I think because of the frustration that he has with how the people are treating him, and maybe his own guilt or maybe his own underlying darkness that is in him, that could be one of the reasons why he going ahead and submit to the path that he is going to. Now, as for the third act in the film, I'm not going to say anything about that. I'm just going to wait until we have our live stream on Tuesday. Myself, Sean, Patrick Urshan, Jen and Christian from Jen and Christians from the Grave, and Michael Myers 101 is going to be on my channel. I'll leave a link in the description below, which we'll talk about more in the detail. It's going to be a spoiler filled because this is a non-spoiler review. So I won't talk about that much as what's happening in the third act, but I'm sure most people will get the feeling, will have mixed feeling. I think most people have some mixed feelings about it, but I won't talk that much about it until the live stream. No, while this is a better than Kills was, I would rank this kind of in the middle of the series. I mean, it's way better than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and of course, way better than Resurrection, but it's not as good as some of the others in the film series. Now, again, I can't speak for everyone else. This is just my opinion. I did like the movie. I understand what David and Danny and the rest of the writers are trying to say here. I know a lot of people might not like the fact that Michael is not in the film that much. But there is a reason, I believe, why we don't see Michael that much in the film. And again, I will not discuss that here. I will talk about that more on the live stream. But I like the fact what they were trying to do here. It's something a little bit different. Like I said, this is not your typical slasher film. This is not like Halloween 2 or the Thorn trilogy or even H2O. This is a more complex story. It's more about is there real evil in the world? Just like Michael Myers is just plain evil. What about if another person had the same problem that Michael has? Is that person more evil? And I think that's what the story that Danny and David were trying to tell here. So I'm going to give Halloween Ends 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Like I said, I did enjoy the film. I really wasn't expecting a huge climactic takedown, drag out fight. This is not Friday the 13th, Part 7 between Tina and Jason. I kind of, when I, like I said, I'll talk about that more, but what I saw at the end of the film, that's kind of what I expected. So I really wasn't bothered by that. So once again, there you have it. That is my review and video for today, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share because it really does help with that YouTube algorithm. And I want to again appreciate all you guys that are really watching because my views are really going up there and continue to watch all my channels. Now, and again, since this is a non-spoiler review, I want to once again please, if you're going to leave comments in the comment section, do not put any spoilers in them. But if you are, please mark it because I don't want this film being spoiled on this particular video. And again, as I stated before, myself, Sean, Christian, Jen, and Michael Myers 101 will have a live stream on my channel on Tuesday at around 7 p.m. That way, we will do a more in-depth talking about this particular movie right here. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have a lot to say about it. Like I said, I heard it's getting a lot of mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people don't, some people hate it. And some people, and that's fine. This is just your opinion. Again, just like Jen and Christian said in their live stream that I saw earlier today, it's typically just about a man and a William a William Shatner mask that goes around killing people. We don't have to get bent out of shape out about it. All we're doing is just having a good time and having a good discussion. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way we notify anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Money G, and always remember that horror rules. Ha! And I see you in my next video. I'm out.